Ho, ho, ho. Welcome, my little elves, to my festive vlog where I read 12 Christmas books, no blue, from 12 different genres. Will I metamorphose into Mrs. Claus, or will I lose my Christmas spirit around book 7? Stay tuned to find out. Grab your eggnog, hang your stocking, and join me as I discover what happens when Christmas cheer meets genre chaos. So I've decided to do a little 12 days of Christmas thing where I'm going to post 4 vlogs that all feature 3 Christmas books from different genres. So I'm trying to touch upon all the genres that I can that involve Christmas in some way. Why am I doing this? Apologies for the low energy. It was my birthday party last night and I am still recovering. So without much further ado, let me tell you about 3 Christmas books I read. So the first one is a classic, and this is A Christmas Carol by Charles Dickens. So I listened to the audiobook version that was narrated by Miriam Margolyes.
To bring you home, home, home! Home, little fan, returned the boy. Yes, said the child.
I thought it was very well done. Sorry, I'm getting a lot of messages. Miriam has a flair for the dramatic and has a great range of fun voices, so it did make the listening experience that much. Why am I continuing to do that? This is what happens when I read the pincer grip thing from Spread by Sarah Gailey. I think this is what's going on. Let's get that out of my habits. I don't want to be doing this. I'm not even Italian. Okay. Before I talk about the book though, I have to mention that I think my reading experience was affected by the fact that I have seen many variations of A Christmas Carol in movies, a lot of them to do with Scrooge, which was also the title of the film that was my favorite adaptation. So Scrooge with Bill Murray, I would say out of all of the Christmas Carol adaptations I have seen, that was my favorite. So I do think because I've seen so many theatrical versions, it may have lessened my enjoyment of this book somewhat. But what is this book about, in case you are unaware? So A Christmas Carol is about a greedy miser who gets ghosted so hard he becomes nice. It is the original Christmas redemption arc with a side of ghosts, guilt, and gravy. Scrooge starts off as the patron saint of shit cunts, only to end up being scared by 3 time-traveling ghosts. You have the ghosts of Christmas past, the ghosts of Christmas present, and the ghosts of Christmas future. And they like to teach him empathy through emotional damage and ghoulish jump scares. They're trying to scare him nice. The book is sentimental, spooky, and kind of funny. But I think it was kind of funny because of Miriam Margolyes' narration. So yeah, I'm not quite sure if it would come across as funny if you read it in the book, but I found some parts slightly humorous. But Miriam Margolyes does add a chaotic flavor with her style. The book centers around themes of redemption, compassion, social inequality, because Scrooge is massively rich and does not give about the poor. It's also about generosity, the passage of time, and the transformative power of empathy, of putting yourself in someone else's shoes and realizing, fuck, I've got a good, maybe I should share some of that good with those who don't have any. I gave this a 3.25. The next book I read was The Christmas Guest by Peter Swanson. This is a thriller. I also listened to the audiobook of this, and that was narrated by Esther Wayne. In this book, you have an American exchange student, and she accepts a Christmas invitation to a totally normal, definitely not murdery English manor. But it ends up not being the kind of British Christmas she expected. I'm guessing she went in there with the expectation of a Love Actually, but ended up with a murder for real. So the book is a psychological thriller that perverts the cozy holiday tropes. It is told through Ashley's diary entries, and it's soaking in a young girl's naive, that's a weird way to say that word, naive optimism that unfortunately unravels faster than tinsel on Boxing Day. It is short and chilling, a Christmas stocking stuffer that delivers you dread instead of holiday cheer. So I'll tell you my experience of the book. The audiobook had page-turning sound effects for the diary entry part, which encompassed more than half of the book. Wasn't a fan of that. That was quite irritating. I didn't realize it was being told in diary entry form. It's not a favorite format or method of storytelling for me. I also found that she was writing a lot of things that I just don't think you would write in your diary. For instance, she lets us know when she's going to take a wee. And then I went to the toilet and had a wee. And I'm like, what, bitch, what? That was noteworthy in your diary? Your toilet breaks? I don't think so. And Ashley was just really dumb and colorblind because she literally could not see that her friend's brother was a walking giant red flag. She knew that he was currently being accused of murdering one of his girlfriends, and yet she's like, I'm down bad for this possible homicidal man. So for me, this was playing a lot on the danger of romantic idealism, as well as the deceptive nature of appearances. I thought it was okay. It's a standard thriller to me, so for me, that is a 3-star. And then the final book I read for this Christmas first installment, Christmas vlog, was, I'm going to put Blue in the picture because she's cute, Letters from Father Christmas by J.R.R. Tolkien. So what would I even call this? I'll call this children's. This is a children's genre. So in this, Tolkien invented an entire North Pole cinematic universe in order to bring magic to his children. So this is essentially letters that Tolkien wrote to his children as Father Christmas, as well as some other characters every year at Christmas, and they've been turned into a book complete with beautiful illustrations. It is a snow-dusted treasure trove of whimsy, chaos, and massive heart. So every year, as I said previously, Tolkien turned himself into Father Christmas with an assist from characters such as the ever-clumsy polar bear and the elegant elf Ilberath. And he delivered these illustrated letters to his children. He also invented font and scripts to go with them. And what began as sweet family fun evolved into this decades-long saga of exploding presents, polar mishaps, and goblin wars that feel suspiciously like early drafts of The Hobbit. The artwork is gorgeous, the humor is timeless, and the creativity is awe-inspiring. Tolkien could literally world build a snowflake with just a pen. It was a delightfully illustrated peek into Tolkien's snow-covered imagination, where Father Christmas essentially runs a magical disaster zone that is held together by elves, goodwill, and glitter. You can see the love that he has poured into this Christmas tradition for his children. It made me smile, but it also made me cry because he would interject snippets of what was happening in their real world into this magical make-believe one. For instance, world wars and sickness, and also children who no longer write to Santa. Everything about this book was just charming and precious. But yeah, it really got to me as a mother, seeing how one by one the elder children would start dropping away and were no longer in his letters because they no longer wrote to Santa or believed in Santa anymore. And then there was just his one last youngest child, and it ends the book by mentioning that she didn't send Santa a letter this year, so this would be Santa's last letter to her. And it was a lot, especially too when obviously they were going through hard times because of the war, and he had to apologize for not giving them as much as he'd hoped to give them, and it was just so well done. It's Tolkien. Tolkien is a master storyteller, and this little world he created with these little characters was marvelous as usual. I got sucked in, and the illustrations, and like I said, he hand wrote all of the letters. It was so wonderful to be able to look at those. I'll put photos up here of all of the illustrations so you can get a taste of what it was like to read through. Some of the editions that are printed also type out the letters, which I think is great because his writing ain't always easy to read, so it's good to have the text there as well. But this was fantastic. This was just such a delightful and quintessential Christmas magic book, and yeah, I was like, maybe I could have tried a bit harder with my Christmas traditions with my kids as well. But then we did a thing with Fairy that would visit lands from the books that they would read and bring them back something from that land. So I did, give my children quite a bit of magic. But yeah, I think no one can compare to, one of the best storytellers that I've ever come across, J.R.R. Tolkien. And afterwards, I did go and read through the family's history and read about his children who sadly have all passed away. But you can see bits of their personalities in the letters that he writes to them. And I think it's just such a personal thing, and to be able to share it, and the fact that they've shared it with everyone, I think it did just extend that love, that familial love and meaning of Christmas to everyone. So this was a 4.5-star read for me. I absolutely loved and adored it. So let me sum up the first 3 books in this Christmas reading vlog. We had A Christmas Carol by Charles Dickens. A grumpy old man learns generosity through paranormal intervention. The Christmas Guest by Peter Swanson. A festive invitation turns fatal when an American student discovers her host's family traditions include more than just mince pies and mystery. And my favorite read of this reading vlog, Letters from Father Christmas by J.R.R. Tolkien. A father invents a magical Christmas story to bring his children cheer through both the good times and the hard times in their life. We're going to see at the end of this how I feel about Christmas as a sort of subject matter or time setting in general in books, and which genre ended up delivering the best Christmas representation, in my opinion. So it's going to be hard to beat Letters from Father Christmas by J.R.R. Tolkien. Just going to say, I'm not sure if I'm going to find something better, but we shall see. Off to a great start. So until next time, stay jolly, Star Child.